Hey, what's up there, ghost hunters? I found an article on Fox about death row last meals before they get executed, and I wanted to show you this. Um, I'm just going to read a little bit. This is, excuse me. I found this very interesting. And last meals requested by condemned inmates across the country have ranged from epic portions to a single plate with barely any food as part of ongoing ritual that precedes the execution. I mean, if you know you're going to be executed, what? I mean, how would you even enjoy it? I don't know. I can't imagine what goes through their mind. The last meal for condemned prison inmates has become a thing of lore as the years have detailed about gruesome crimes and culinary preferences in the final hours has gained widespread attention. And inmates on death row prisons systems across the country have included some of the most vicious and murderers and crimes that shocked and sickened the public. John Wayne Gacy, the famous serial killer who murdered 33 boys in the 70s, ordered a feast on his last day alive. Just before his 1994 execution inside Illinois prison, Gacy had a bucket of KFC fried chicken, 12 fried shrimp, french fries, a pound of strawberries, and a few other things. Florida inmate Danny Rolling, known as the Gainesville Ripper, enjoyed lobster tail, butterfly shrimp, a baked potato, sweet tea, strawberry cheesecake before his 2006 death by lethal injection. There's always the exceptions, it says. Victor Fugger, the last man executed by the federal government years before the Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, kidnapped and killed an Iowa doctor who refused to give him drugs. When he was hanged in 1963, all he asked for was an olive, just a single olive with a pit inside. And it says here McVeigh had 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream before the 2001 lethal injection death. I wish they. I don't want to get started. Should have just given. Never mind. All 4 men were a part of an ongoing tradition where inmates slated to die at the hands of the state were given the option of one last meal and choice before going to their afterlife. In ancient Greece, you had to feed the person who was going to be executed so they could cross the river Styx to the underworld and come back as a hungry ghost. Interesting. Says here, the last meal has captivated the public imagination for years. This guy, Henry Hargreaves, he's a New Zealand-born photographer, has taken images of the last meals. I'll see if I can find some of this. And they have, and some of these other people here, despite taking their food, he's replicated the recipes by cooking them himself. So the photographer did the cooking. It makes the people for death sentence look through another lens. Trying to do is, I think, too often this is what Hargreaves is saying. People on death row are seen as statistics. These reports of executions almost always include information about death row inmates' last meal and last words. Books and websites have gotten into the mix, such as the Last Meal Project, Last Suppers, Famous Meals from Death Row, and Meals to Die For. Those are things that you can look for if you want. And it says here, Lawrence Brewer was a white supremacist convicted of dragging James Byrd to his death with a pickup truck. I remember this. This is absolutely horrible. His last meal, he wanted a bowl of fried okra with ketchup, 2 chicken sticks with gravy and onions and cheese almond with ground beef, jalapenos and peppers. He also asked for a triple bacon cheeseburger, 3 fajitas, 1 pound of barbecue. And when the meal was placed in front of him, he refused to eat. That prompted lawmakers to get involved. Death row choose a final meal from the menu. So now the Texas State Penitentiary at Huntsville, they have to choose from a menu. So they're not just going to get this random, I want lobster tails, steaks, and all the shrimp and everything, put it in front of you, and you don't eat it. So that's just kind of like, well, I'm going to die, so I just made you cook all this stuff for anything. Continuing. Let's see. John Spankelink, first inmate executed after the U.S. Supreme Court reinstated death penalty, shared a flask of Jack Daniels whiskey with the prison superintendent who came up with the idea. They had one final drink before, right now in Alabama, 166 inmates are on death row. Joe Nathan James Jr., who was executed in July, declined the last meal. And Arizona inmate Joseph Wood only requested 2 cookies before his 2014 execution. Department of Corrections. And then this guy, this is Aileen Warnos, a prostitute who killed several men in Florida, declined the last meal. I remember this. Declined the last meal and asked for a cup of coffee. Utah inmate Ronnie Lee Garner ate steak, lobster tail, apple pie, and vanilla ice cream with a 7-Up soda before he's executed by firing squad in 2010. Man, I didn't know they had a firing squad in 2010. Wow. Finishing up here, let's see. Over the years, there have been several odd last meal requests. Tennessee murderer Philip Workman declined a last meal for himself and asked that for a vegetarian pizza be given to a homeless person. Prison officials declined to fulfill the wish. They should have done it. Why wouldn't they? I don't know. Some believe the ritual of the last meal generates appearance of distinguishing between the violence of the execution committed by the state and the violence of what's being punished. Daniel LaChance, an associate professor of history at Emory University, he was the one saying that. According to this guy, Daniel LaChance, the meal served as a reminder this is a different violence. He told Fox News, the views that some may not hold. This is a righteous violence rather than lawless or criminal violence. Well, to do with last meal, but anyway, I just wanted to share this with everybody. I'm going to do some of these wild, occasionally, maybe once every 2 weeks. I'm going to do reviews and crazy stories like this. This is amazing. And I try to imagine if I was on death row, I don't know. I don't even think I could eat. Or why would I? I don't know. How do you feel about it? I mean, that's crazy. It's something you don't think about, the last meal. And then that's it. So, hey, this is Sean Suncoast Films. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.